Time for another update at the renovation house, and I am mighty dirty, and we're even going to go up in the attic. Give you a little tour up there coming up. I'm Roger. Welcome to what we're calling the renovation house. Obviously not in the shop, but working in the house. Yes, audio in this room is horrible. It's just empty and it just echoes. But I'll give you a little bit of an update, show you how things are coming along, plus give you a little bit of a tour of the attic. I have been up there several times. Been doing some wiring and several other things. So, well, exactly what's up there? Well, did we find anything up there? Well, yeah, sorta. Found this, found a speaker up there. So I guess we could call that speaker of the house. Okay, bad joke. Some people worry about there being spirits in the attic. Did we find any spirits? Well, a couple of them. One is named Budweiser, and you'll see the remnants of it when we get up there. Somebody was enjoying a beverage at one time. And the other one was a fellow that I guess used to be a sailor, because his name's Captain Morgan. But unfortunately the bottle was empty. But spirit-wise, that's all there is. What there are here is a fold downstairs with a hatch. It's not like what Clark Griswold has, where it comes down and pops you in the face. But I'll get those folded down and we'll go up there and take a look around, and then I'll take you around and show you some of the other progress we've made in the past week. Okay, so here are the attic stairs. And they fold up and turns into a hatch in the ceiling right up there. And up we go. Someone at one time did put some lights up here, which is kind of nice. So light switch right there. And we have some lights. And I'll kind of pan around here. I'm not going to crawl everywhere, but you can kind of see what's up here. There's a chimney down there at the end. A lot of knob and tube wiring that needs to be taken out. A lot of the new wiring you see is stuff that I've pulled up here that I have not connected yet. And someone did put a kind of a floor up here. Unfortunately, it's 1/4 inch OSB, so it's not real sturdy. There is some insulation up here. It's rock wool, and it's if you think fiberglass makes you itch, you ought to get into a bunch of this. Well, turn this camera off here a minute, and I'm going to climb up and get you into the other part. Okay, here we are in the main part. This is over the dining room, living room, and front bedroom. There's, yeah, those are just wide open. There's birds and bees and stuff, but that one there is going to get closed up and blocked off because there are roof vents up here. And there's another one just like it on the other side there. And as you can see, there's some wiring that I've pulled up that's not connected yet. And there's a lot of existing knob and tube here too. Zoom in on that a little bit. And inherently, knob and tube is not as dangerous as people think. Yes, it is exposed wiring. But one of the advantages of it back in the day was those conductors are separated, so it's not like they could just short against each other. And oh, there's Mr. Budweiser laying there yet. As you can see, the framing up here is kind of interesting. And there's some places where, well, I guess we didn't have enough rafter to go all the way down, so we'll just stop it there. And there's some hinge marks on it. That was an old door frame. The rafters up here are 2x4, but they're full size 2x4. There are some braces that run down to support the ceiling. When I get back downstairs, I'll give you a little bit of a history on this house after I've done some more research. The original service came in over here by this window. And I don't know if I can zoom in on that or not without crawling over there. But you can see some of the original knobs up there from the original electric service. The very first electric service was actually mounted up here in the attic. And there's some more knobs right there. And some more down the line here, and wire running hither and yon, and yeah, there's a lot to do up here yet. This house is balloon framed, which means that these openings, I can just, if I move the insulation out of the way and the cardboard they've got underneath there, I can drop things straight to the basement. So we're going to be putting fire stops in down there, because that's a fire hazard if there's ever a fire. Here's something else that was done quite a bit. I can get zoomed in on this here. When they wanted to attach to the old knob and tube, they just did flying splices here with Romex. There's quite a few of these up here. This all gets tore out and replaced. There is a little bit of new wiring over there. The camera will focus on that. Light's not real good up here. And it was done actually correctly when they did it, but they just didn't finish the job. So now I'm going to get back downstairs and get out of this cold, dusty, dirty attic. Okay, a little bit of the other progress that's been made is this room's all been painted. That ceiling fan up there was originally when we bought the house. That one's going to get moved, and a different one's going up. And for a couple reasons. One is it's not mounted properly, and it's a little small for the room. We're going to put that in the smaller back bedroom. And over here in the what is going to be the master bedroom, we have a new ceiling fan up there, and that one is properly mounted and properly secured. Don't have it powered up yet. And we've added some outlets in this room. This room's been painted. Still got some dust to clean off the top of the baseboard. And we've changed the switch over here in the wall to a 2-gang, so that the fan and the light can be operated from the wall and not off of pull chains. This room originally had just a, well, it's laying here on the floor. Had this little small single bulb ceiling light in here, and it didn't really light much up. So this fan will make a big difference. I'm going to show this here just for all you neat freaks. And yeah, this is not neat. So you see a lot of videos where people are doing projects and everything is just all spick and span and everything's in its place. This is reality. This is how it really is. Stuff everywhere. This is kind of the central room. This is actually the dining room. This is a room where everything's just kind of being stored. Okay, going into the back bedroom, which will be the great-granddaughter's bedroom. Getting rewiring going in here. Got drop in for the smoke detector, got a drop in for the new ceiling fan, which will be properly anchored and properly mounted, as will the smoke detector. And here again in this room, still need to add an outlet to this wall. But the closet needs some painting and work yet, but it's ready to get painted. This door out of the way, added a 2-gang switch in here. One switch for the light, and the other switch would be for the fan. And that was real fun because that was not wood lath back there, that was wire lath behind that plaster, and that's always miserable to work with. Cut your fingers up. In fact, there's some of the scraps of it right there. You can see that black wire lath. That stuff's just all kinds of fun to cut out of a wall. So if you like antiques, here's one of the switches I took out. Old-time push-button switch. I even had a brass plate on it. Old porcelain guy. And knob and tube in the wall, but no box behind it. Then moving on into the bathroom here, I got a couple things stored in there. We've been doing some insulating here and there. So got a roll of insulation in there and a piece of extra wood. Got this all wired. That's a temporary light just hanging there, so I have a little bit of light in the room. My through-the-wall exhaust fan is due to be here on Monday. Today's Saturday. There's the outlet for the vanity. But the old fan up there, yeah, that's going to get replaced. It does work, but there was no box on it. It was just wired in the wall, flied like that. So we're going to do it right. There again for you neat freaks. This is actually the kitchen area, and this is kind of our saw station for all the framing we've been doing. Yeah, I do have a nice DeWalt miter stand and miter saw, but it takes up a whole bunch of room, and I don't want to put it out in the garage here because that's not as secure as I like it to be. And the kitchen counter, as if you watched any of my previous videos, if there's a flat surface, I'll put something on it. But this is, again, this is reality. This is how it is when you're doing a major remodel. Stuff just sets everywhere. Okay, moving in here to the room that is going to be the laundry room. We've got some progress going in here. We got everything framed. We got it wired now. These are drops. After we get it sheetrock, those are going to be can lights. That's why there's no boxes there. There's boxes on the cans. And we have switches. And we have the wall framed up around the stairs. And the new framing for the new doorway right there. And the first set of steps is built. And yes, they're purple. Okay, now why are they purple? Picked up a gallon of what they call mist tint of porch and floor enamel, and I didn't really care what color it was. I just wanted to get some paint on this before everybody started walking up and down it and getting dirt ground into the wood. They'll paint this a different color, of course, once we get everything finished up, but it's mainly just to protect the wood. And yeah, there's wood chips all over because I just got done doing a bunch of wiring. Next on the agenda for next week will be this next set of stairs going down where the bottom's all rotted out. So that'll all get changed. And might even do something about this really neat light here just kind of hanging on this old knob and tube. Might do something a little better with that. Okay, back in the laundry room here, if you were wondering how we were going to do this with plumbing on an outside wall, the outside wall is insulated. And then there's a piece of 3/4 inch OSB behind that framed out opening, where the 2 water supplies in the drain will be. So that will prevent it from freezing. You definitely don't want to put your plumbing in an outside wall in our area. So I'll talk a little bit about the history of the house. Here's one of the boards we took out. And this house, again, was built in 1944 and finished in 1945. This is a piece that I happened to pull off of the wall in the bathroom. You see these square nails. And I'm going to pause this and get the camera back on a tripod and give you a little bit of history about this house. So we're going to sit back, take a little bit of a break. Got some Goose Island 312 here. A little liquid refreshment. Been eating a lot of dust. Obviously dirty. Sawdust all over me. Black dust. Insulation. Rock wall. All kinds of nasty heebie-jeebies. I want to give you a little bit of history on this house. As I said, it was started construction in 1944. I do some research on this. It was completed in 1945. In 1944 was during World War II for all you young folks. Well, I wasn't around then either. But during that time, you could not just go to the lumber yard, and there was no Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards or anything back then. It was all private lumber yards and sawmills. You could not go and buy lumber, because everything was being used for the war effort. Therefore, this house was built out of another building that had been torn down. That's why we've been finding a lot of studs that are not long enough and they just patched onto them, and that also explains why there are so many square nails in here in a house that was built in the 1940s, because after 1890, square nails pretty much faded out real quick because they had come up with the technology on how to manufacture the round wire nails like we're familiar with now. So from about 1900 on, square nails weren't really used unless there was what they call old stock. Somebody was just using up old stuff. The square nails that I'm finding in here are not being used to actually hold the structure together. They were just not pulled out of the old lumber that was used to build this house. And the other thing was the lumber in here is full-size dimensional. Therefore, a 2x4 is a full-size 2 inches by 4 inches. About 1912, 1918 or so, they came up with a standard, and at that time, a finished 2x4 was 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Eventually, sometime in the late 40s, early 50s, it became 1 5/8 by 3 5/8. And then sometime, it was actually during my lifetime, they changed to 1 5/8 by 3 5/8, 1.5 by 3 1/2. So that is a 2x4. The other lumber in here, like I say, 2x6s are full 2 inch by 6 inch. The 2x10s are a full 2" by 10". And the massive beam that's over that laundry room over there, where used to be a porch, yeah, that's a full size, I think that was 8" by 10", or yeah, it's full size with full size 2x10s underneath it. So there's, and it's all rough sawn, it's not smooth. If you run your hand down here, you're going to get a bunch of slivers in your hand. And it's old growth pine, as they call it. I haven't found any exotic woods in here or anything. Everything appears to be pine or Douglas fir. That gives you a little bit of a history on this house. Like I said, it was completed in 1945. That was the year of the end of the war. The plaster in here is, obviously, you can't reuse plaster. That was all new. But all of the lumber that was used to build this house was from another reclaimed building that was built probably sometime back in the 1800s. Hence all the square nails. We found some stuff where you could see they had actual wood pegs, and a lot of joints where, you know, beams had been notched out, and then joists or rafters had actually been fitted into those and fitted with square pegs. So it's kind of interesting to see what had been reused in here. Structurally, I'm not worried about the house falling down. Good grief, it's been here since 1945. Went through high winds and storms and heavy snow, and so I'm not worried about the house collapsing, anything like that. Obviously, the floors are not level in here anywhere because you know, when it was built, it was on a stone foundation, which is solid. It does leak. We have water, as you've seen, but it is solid. Floors kind of slope here and there. There's no real good way to try to straighten those out without starting to crack plaster in the walls, and then you create a whole bunch more work. I mean, it's not like you're going to set a ball in the corner that's going to roll across the room, but the floors are not level. We found that out, especially with the laundry room. When I leveled it off the kitchen, assuming, it was a big mistake, that the dining room was going to be the same level as the kitchen because you could walk through the other door straight through. That's not the case. It's 3/4 of an inch higher there. And as we pull the string line across the dining room floor, it does slope about 5/8 of an inch from one end to the other towards the kitchen. So that would explain it. So that's my little update here on what has been going on with the house, a little bit of the history. Of course, you got to see the nasty attic up there and remnants of one of the spirits had been left up there. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. It helps the channel. Of course, we're always looking for subscribers. And next to that subscribe button is a little bell. You click that bell, you'll be notified when I post another video. Otherwise, I'm Roger, not in the shop, but in the renovation house, having a little bit of an adult beverage here to settle some of the dust. See you on the next one.